because I need to address some matters directly as it relate to him. Last sitting, we passed the resolutions relating to human rights. And in that resolution, my contribution to that debate highlighted two very critical items as relate to law, nay, even arbitration, law, and indeed human rights. That was not so well received by those opposite. I read in the hearing Article 7 from that resolution, which says all are equal before the law, and you can see the laughter. They don't consider a statement like that important. I don't care if it's said 1,000 times. I don't care if a judge hears that defense 1,000,000 times. It should always be respected without banter or giggling or childish innuendos associated. All are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. Absolutely. All are entitled to equal protection against discrimination in violation with this declaration and against any incitement in such discrimination. So even anything that we do to incite such discrimination, that was taken with great offense by the government side. And the second part that they took issue with was Article 12, and no one shall be subject to arbitrary interference with their privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor to attacks upon their honor and reputation. Everyone has the right to the protection of the law against such interference or attacks. In that proceedings, Madam President, the Attorney General made a rebuttal. And to his rebuttal, I had demanded that he table the documents he said he would table. I demanded it several times. And I stand firmly on that, demanding that the Attorney General table the documents in which he done. And let me read a quote from you from that. And I would table his exact words right now so that you and he could read it as I speak. What's today's date? There's a copy for you, Madam President, and someone could pass it across the table to the Attorney General. In the Hansard time period, 28 minutes and 55 seconds to 29 minutes and 54 seconds, I see the Attorney General laughing. I think he needs to be reminded that he represents the law in this country.
Madam President,
Sir?
I stand on a point of relevance. I mean, I don't understand the relevance of this to the debate at hand today. I mean, we're debating the arbitration bill, and thereafter the midwives. So I just, what's the relevance?
Thank you, Senator, the Honorable Darren Bixler.
Yeah, I will deal with you at another time, Mr. Pistor. I'm well within my rights, Madam President. I believe firmly that you should listen and be slow to speak. And when you speak, be sure that the legs that you're standing on is firm and you're willing to die for the words you speak. I've always been that kind of person. I'm quick to apologize, but I'm also firm in my belief. Again, for your reference, the time index was 28 minutes and 55 seconds to 29 minutes and 54 seconds. The Honorable Attorney Ryan Pinder. Ryan Pinder.
Senator Rahming, can you yield for a moment, please? Senator.
I was giving
What's your point of order?
the senator a bit of leeway to see where it's going, but according to the rules 31.6, a senator may not speak more than once to a question before the Senate, except an explanation, elucidation, reply, or with the leave of the Senate. He has spoken to the human rights resolution before, and so unless he's trying to explain something he has already said and not question the Attorney General or anyone else, he can't speak to that. In addition, if it's a personal explanation, Rule 38 says that it cannot be controversial. So I stand on that point of order.
You can stand, Madam President, you can stand on all the point of order as you wish. I am a very respectful person. I took the time and I sat with the clerk of the House and I got advice from the most senior person in this House, 40 years experience in the House, as to the appropriateness of me taking this course of action. And if he dared to want to throw rules in that even in the debates that was before me that drifted into no man's land, and I stated from the get-go that even a matter like this even is applicable to arbitration, even though I don't need those legs to stand on. Now, unless the Attorney General and those opposite have an issue with me standing on a fact of truth, that's their problem. But I'm going to stand on a matter of fact, and I will continue my speech because it is within my rights, period. The Honorable Attorney General stood on the point of order.
Senator,
The Honorary Attorney.
Senator Rahming. We're debating the arbitration bill today, okay? You are referring to the human rights bill. I just need you to come very quickly to relevance with respect to what is before the Senate today. Because I need to decipher exactly where you're going, and I am not 100% clear on that as yet.
Yes, ma'am, because I'm not getting past the time index on that. And just as in arbitration, the articles that I read in the human rights position that I rose, even in the last debate, is applicable to arbitration. Arbitration is simply nothing more than a legal proceeding equivalent to any other court proceedings in the land and of itself, though they may have its own nuances. In spirit, it's the same thing, where you go before somebody to adjudicate a matter between two individuals. It's really as simple as that. Arbitration may take a detour, whereas the adjudication may take a more less legal view, where they find somebody who could sit people down in a quiet place and come to a agreeable position before the courts may rule on a particular matter, but this is consistent with that. And notwithstanding that or any other matter, I still stand firmly on my rights, unless the Attorney General, who would have had time to read what I would have presented, and yourself or anybody else have a problem with the truth, then let's simply go outside and have this debate, which I'm prepared to have in the street. I'll further add this to arbitration because of this place being restricted by the individuals who are appointed to be here, that any matter stated here that is attributed to anyone on the outside, there is no other arbiter for them than for someone in this place to stand up and represent them in this place against anything that arose in this place at any particular point in time. Again, that's the spirit of arbitration. I will read, and unless the Attorney General is afraid of what is being read by a foxhole, sappadilly-eating, jitney-driving son of a preacher woman, then I would simply say, allow me to have my say, and he can clearly, with all his legal background experience, swat me down if I'm wrong.
Surely this is unfair.
And I'll yield. To my point now. A point of order. The Honorable President of the Senate, what is your point of order? This is the Attorney General. The Chair recognizes Senator the Honorable Ryan Pinder. What is your point of order? Ryan Pinder. Honorable Member, meaning myself, It took me a while to get that word out after hearing the diatribe that I have just heard, should be cautioned. And I asked him to withdraw any half-baked allegation about persons on this side without demonstrating proof that he can table on. No, you have to demonstrate proof, because you know what? It's not option, because he made an allegation which is an allegation of fact. And it is an allegation of law, and he has to table it. Further quoting Ryan Pinder, I can bring the criminal complaint and the charge sheet file against them from the other side and table them in this place of 56 counts of fraud. I can do that. He can do that. He can't do that, meaning me. He can't do that with anybody on our side. I asked him to withdraw. I challenged him to table his facts because I'm not withdrawing it. And I'm going to ask him again because I am not only not withdrawing it, I'm blatantly denying it to his face and asserting that he, what's the word for lie in the parliamentary? Help me, please, Madam Speaker. What's the word? Because lie is not in the parliamentary term. What's the word? Help me. Misrepresentation. Blatantly misrepresented facts in this place. Now, as the Attorney General, if he does have facts to substantiate what he just said, what I just quoted, I need him to table that in this House because they were strong, defamatory, and what I clearly state as false facts that went against the spirit of the debate and clearly could impugn the character of people who are now fighting for their lives in arbitration, in court, and other different places. So I am compelled to ask the Attorney General again to table his 56 allegations of fraud, as he would have stated, in this place, and silence me. I would be humble and happy to find myself wrong in this case, rather than to stand and see the learned Attorney General bring shame to the office. If the Attorney General fails to table this, then I will table this. And he's laughing. This is not a joking matter. When I spoke of these matters and people are fighting for their lives in the court, I stood on a point of principle that we should not interfere and allow persons all their judicial avenues to be able to attain their rights under the law. And we must be careful of that, because when it's your time, you are entitled under the law, regardless of how I feel about you, to a proper defense. And since the Attorney General don't want to table his own claims, I will table it for him. And through you, Madam President, I will give you a minute for him to peruse the very same document he made reference to. No, you stand up in here all the time as if no one has any degree of discernment, and you say things that are reckless and brutal, and quite frankly, I've had really enough of it. And now you've reached to the point, look at your document, look at, it's signed at the back, sorry, it's signed at the last page. Look at your indictment that you said you were going to table. I tabled it for you so you right now can look at it and show me the 56 allegation of fraud. Prove to me the 56 allegations of fraud that you stood up in this House and publicly stated that you can prove it, you can table it, you can do it, and you did it to the discredit of this body and the discredit of other persons who would be qualified under that description as a person charged with 56 allegations of fraud. Is it true or is it not true? You have to answer. You are one of the court. You are not above anybody here. You are not above anybody here.
Senator
and
Enfield, order.
An untruth is an untruth.
Order.
No matter where it is.
Order.
Better than anybody else.
Order. 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 Senator, you sign the document that you would like to lay.
I signed it in the back. Sorry, I'll sign it to the front. What, 18? Good days. 22nd. Oh, that's wrong. The whole point I raised in the matter as relate to human rights is to not disenfranchise anyone.
Thank you.
Who have to be adjudicating a matter in defense of their life, liberty, and reputation.
Senator Rahming,
No, but he raised a point publicly that cannot go unchallenged because it goes against everything else. And I was above board. And he has to present what he said he was. He said he was going to present it. So I present him with the document that he was referencing, and he can look in it now, and you can go through every item and establish where anyone, there are 98 charges.
Senator Rahming, you need to speak to the chair. Firstly, Senator Rahming, thank you. Firstly, Senator Rahming, you need to speak to the chair.
Yes, sir.
Senator Rahming, secondly, you are bringing a point of order that was discussed at the last session with relation to a statement made by Senator Ryan Pinder, okay, which really has no relevance or no bearing on what we are discussing today. I believe that your intervention can perhaps be better placed under questions in the rules. And at this time, I would like for you to please proceed with your contribution on the arbitration bill.
Madam.
Because I am not going to request anything from the Attorney General at this point in time, the Senator, okay? So I would suggest that you please proceed with your presentation on the arbitration bill and become more relevant. Thank you.
Madam President, what I do find amazing, I sit in this house from its inception, this new sitting, and I sit and I listen. And I find it amazing that rules, and I have experience even in the other place, and now I have 2 years here, that we conveniently have rules that we apply when it's convenient. Let me use one that people consider very simple. There's a rule that is strong, and it has the word shall. You know, shall in law don't mean your opinion, right? In rule number 31, it says, a senator, as a general rule, shall not read their speech. I can show you some can't talk in here without looking their eyes up above the ground. The rules of relevance as far as they relate to the House and even here, and I asked advice of the clerk at the House, because he is the advisor to the House. Cannot stand in his practices because at any time and virtually at every sitting, there are persons who speak to what is relevant to them and have the latitude. And this is also something, as I stated before, akin to arbitration, because it impacts and it shows as an example of what can happen when you have people that are called to the bar and in positions of authority making false allegations on matters that are being arbitrated. And not only that, notwithstanding, as a matter of principle, and as a matter of the challenge directly to the Attorney General right now to his face, his honor should demand that he stand and rise to the challenge and address these not allegations, what I am saying a fact. If not, why we call ourselves honorable in this place? Who will defend against anyone who speaks in this place about anyone who don't have the privilege of this place outside this place, but someone in this place? So I am the only advocate who can stand because I recognize the folly of the Attorney General. I gave him chance then to retract it. And it's on the proper record. So this is very relevant to this debate.
Madam President.
And I challenge him again. I challenge him again
Madam
to
President.
stand. That is wrong.
Challenge, can you please resume your seat?
Madam President, I
The chair recognizes Senator the Honorable Darren Pickstock.
we have to bring some decorum to the House. You know, you gave a ruling already,
Yes,
and that ruling should stand,
yes.
so that we can bring order to the House and continue on with the debate.
Thank you, Senator the Honorable Darren Pickstock.
You've misled this House so many times. Let me go down your road.
Senator Reuben Rahming.
Madam President, you see, this is it. At the end of the day, we are lawmakers. When we make laws, we should be the last ones to be able in breach of the law. The senator himself, and as you would have reckoned, you would have known when we spoke on the bill as related to the Pinecrest community, where he tabled documents as related to drainage of Pinecrest. And I showed to you and the Attorney General that the document he presented to the House is fraudulent. You want me to go down the line? We also have the Minister of Economic Affairs and also Senator Pickstock, who stood in this House and said the government didn't borrow money from Central Bank, but the Central Bank published the fact twice that it was actually a loan. We want to keep going down the line. We want to talk about the minister who is responsible for Bamsey, who stood in this place misrepresenting matters about it. I have been here over and over and being gentlemanly when there have been blatant misrepresentations that could be proven. And right now, again, the Attorney General, who has been made a QC, now a KC, can't stand in front of a jitney driver and call me a liar or say it's wrong when the fact is he is impugning the representation and he is also misrepresenting the very stuff that comes to his office. There have not been any 56 allegations of fraud across the board to anyone, and you can review the documents that's been tabled.
Madam President, the entire contribution of the senator thus far has been imputing the character of a senator. There are multiple rules. He just stated that the Attorney General would have laid fraudulent documents. The Attorney General is not only a member of this honorable place, but he is a member of the bar. That is imputing his character, and there are multiple rules of the Senate that deals with this. And I'm a senator and I can speak for myself as well. If I see that there's a breach of the rules, I'm allowed to stand and bring that as a point of order. Madam President, he is breaching multiple rules of this House now. You've made a ruling, and he continues to have the leeway to speak on the character of members of this honorable Senate.
Senator, Senator.
I respect you, and because I personally respect you above your chair and in your chair. And I respect myself. Look at me okay with this. First of all, because see, you got to be careful to be right. And you can't be arrogant about it. If I stated fraudulent documents, I not only withdraw it, I humbly apologize. All right? He stated a fact alleging fraud in the, as I would have said before. I need to go over that again. This is very simple, you know. It's very simple, Madam President. All the AG got to do is stand up and say, Reuben, you're wrong. And then I would take my discourse to the street where he can sue me. And I will take it there. Yeah. Because truth is indefensible. I'm actually going to rest. I will take it to the street. Stand up now, say that I'm wrong. Say the document I laid is not accurate, factual, undefiled except my highlights on it. And I would humble myself in your house and take my fight out this house, in the street, where he could sue me for the little that I have if what I said is wrong. And with that, and out of great personal respect for you, Madam President, I yield and rest.
Thank you for your contribution, Senator the Honorable Reuben Rahming. As many?